Yeah. So the question is, if you have a girlfriend in a less developed country than the country that you're from, should you help her out financially? And first you've got to meet a girl that when you're with her, you feel like she's with you because she really likes you, not because you're paying for things for her. And I think this is where a lot of guys go wrong right off the bat. They start taking the girl on these nice dates and spending money on her and buying her stuff. And there's like really no room there for him to determine whether she's with him for the money or not. I see a lot of guys making that mistake. Uh, I can think back, like when I was in Africa, I wouldn't really spend money on a girl up front. I mean, I might kick in my share. I might buy her dinner once, but then see if she would buy me dinner the next time or cook me something. I would try to create a situation where there was reciprocity, where I could see if she was gonna return the favor or put in her share of work. It doesn't always have to be like money. Like she can come over to your place and cook you dinner or clean your house or wash your clothes. And there are those girls. I mean, look, you can find these situations in Asia, Central and South America, Africa. I don't have so much experience in Central and South America, but like in Africa, for example, I would meet girls who were just like on the princess level, and I would go out with them. And pretty soon, I understood that if I wasn't going to spend money on them, they weren't going to be around, which is okay. It's like, okay, you're taking your presence away from me, but there's like 1,000 more girls I have a selection of. Uh, but I guess what really got to me is like these princess girls. They would come to my house, but they wouldn't cook or clean or help me with anything around the house. And yeah, they were pretty, but I just knew they were no good. They were. I remember girls coming over, and to me it was like, it was a normal Ugandan house. I was paying $135 for a 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom house with a guest house on the compound. So I mean, to a lot of girls, that looked like a real nice place. It was only $135 a month, but that was a lot there in Uganda. And there were girls that would come over, and they just wanted to lounge and watch movies all day. And then when it came time to eat, they wanted me to like order a pizza and have it delivered or something. And yeah, that kind of told me all I needed to know right there. Is like, okay, well, uh, you know, but then I would meet girls sometimes that would come over and cook, and that meant a lot to me. A girl would not only would she just cook, but she would have to go out to the village. I lived in a village. She'd have to walk to like the village center and shop for the food and get the right prices for everything, because it's all about bartering and negotiating over there. There's never set prices. And she might go get us a ngege, which is like a I think it's a lake fish, really nice. And she'd have to go buy that and some vegetables and some herbs and come back. And uh, the really good, the really good ones, the ones that impressed me, were the ones that would build a fire in the sigiri, which is like a clay charcoal stove. It takes a little more work than just clicking on the gas stove, which I did have one of those. And I'd like to, watch them cook outside and really get into it. And then, maybe if she spent the night, she could wash my clothes the next day and hang them out to dry. And well, I didn't have a washing machine, so I'd see her out there plunging the clothes into the water and soaking them and putting her muscle into it. And I was like, damn, that is a woman. And I really like to see that. So and another thing is, like, when she would come to meet me, I would never give girls money to come see me. That's a kind of a thing there in Africa. They would they would ask you to send them money. And a lot of times you've never met this girl before. You might meet her online and she'll ask you to send her money so that she can travel and come to see you. And it, might be the case that she just doesn't have an extra. I mean, it wasn't much. A lot of girls that I met would come from Kampala. That was about on the little buses they had, it would cost about $1.25 that journey. But round trip and everything, and plus they have to take like a from the bus stop to like my area, they'd have to take a boda, which is like a private motorcycle taxi. So like all in all, it might cost her about $3 to $2.50, $3 to get to my place. And I wouldn't give them money. I wouldn't send girls money that I have never met before, and I wouldn't even send girls money that I had met before. But some girls that became dear to me, and I could see that they had a genuine heart. I would offer to pay after the first time we met. She would pay for the first time. I remember one girl. She came from really far away. It took her like 2 or 3 hours to get to where I was, and she paid for her trip to get to me. And we we met, and she was wearing a long red dress, like the kind of nice dress that you would wear to go to church, and some high heels. And I told her that we were going to walk, so she also brought along some comfortable walking shoes. And we walked through my village, and we eventually got to my house. And um, yeah, I just remember feeling her sincerity radiating while we were walking and talking. And oh, we didn't do anything physically that day, and I respected that. But because she came off as such a sincere and genuine person, I paid for her next trip, and I understood her situation. Like economically, she just, even though it was like probably a $6, $7, to come see me and then travel back, which is, it's not, doesn't seem like a lot of money. But for a Ugandan, $7, what $7 feels like to them is probably close to maybe what $30 feels like to a Westerner. So, um, yeah, I would just read girls, and then I would have this type that they would pay for their way. They would come over, and they'd be all princessed up and looking good and everything. Uh, they would ask like, "Oh, how much is your rent? What do you do? How do you make money?" Uh, they would, be pretty impressed with what they saw. And yeah, I just got this sense, it's like they didn't say this out loud, but I just got this sense that in their mind they were like, "Yes, I've landed one," you know. and and she's like, "Okay, well, I've landed one, and maybe I'm not the only one she landed. There's other Westerners in Uganda, not a lot, not a lot. It's kind of uncharted territory. It's not on the list for the passport bros or anything, and I hope it doesn't, you know. I hope it does. I don't think it ever will. I don't think it'll ever be on the passport bros list. Kenya maybe. Kenya, I've seen passport bros going to Kenya. Not too happy about that because I love Kenya, and I don't think Kenya or Uganda is a place to go and screw around and mess with girls. Well, okay, I'll say this. There actually are a lot of disingenuous women who you meet them, and they're just all they can see. All they can see. They don't even see you. You're just a symbol of what they want, which is money, a comfortable life. You know, I saw this. I remember going to this one Indian restaurant, and I saw this guy. He was like 80 years old. He was somewhere between 80 and 90. Could have been 85, around there. walking with a cane and everything, and he was with a 20-year-old girl. And yeah, I just but then maybe she did love him. And I mean, I heard rumors that she took care of him and she was his companion or his girlfriend. So yeah, let me take that back. I'm not knocking that as long as there's kind of some sincerity on both ends. But a lot of girls I met in Kenya and Uganda, it was just they just reeked of like gold digger. So yeah, I mean, I don't want passport bros. I don't want Uganda and Kenya to be on the map for passport bros. I think Kenya kind of is a little bit, but not Uganda. And I mean, you do have to put up with a lot of crap there with the women. If you want to dilly dally and if you want to dance with that devil. If you go over there screwing around with the girls, you're gonna meet your share of shit. You know, by shit I mean just bad experiences. Girls coming to your place and not leaving until they'll like demand that you pay them, and just or they'll just stay and you want them to leave and they won't leave, and or I don't know, or like they'll sell your phone number to scammers, and scam guys will call you pretending they're the police or immigration, and they'll tell you that, hey, we can work this out. Just come and meet me. I'm sure we can work this out and you won't get deported. Like I've had that happen to me. I've had that happen to me before. So just like, yeah, when you dance with that devil, like be ready to pay the consequences. It'll happen eventually if you go through enough girls, like 100 plus girls, maybe even 50 plus girls. Eventually, in that batch of 50 plus girls, you're gonna meet one that's gonna fuck with your life. And I mean, it happened to me, and I'll be honest. I deserved it. If you do that, you deserve it. So actually, now that I'm kind of like, this is like free flow thought for me right now. I didn't really plan this video, but as I articulate this out, it's actually like, now that I think back on all my experiences, how many really good girls did I meet when I was in Uganda? Like good girlfriends that were like girlfriend quality. I mean, I could rate them on like a level of sincerity, 0 just being a gold digger and 10 being, completely sincere. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. You're a Mzungu. You're a Westerner. She knows that you're just gonna, right off the bat, you're gonna be economically more advantaged than she is. Okay, like girls aren't stupid. Okay, so but it's just like, how does she conduct herself? You know, um, and so like level 10 would be the girl that, okay, she knows that you're a Westerner and you've got money, but I think the really sincere type, what they'll do is, even though they understand that you have money compared to them, like, okay, over there I'm rich, right? Here in America I'm poor, but over there I'm rich. So even though even though she knows that you're rich, what this level 10 sincere girl will do is she will still put in 50-50. It doesn't have to be with money, because maybe she can't do it with money, but she can do it, by just doing things that show her love and her appreciation for you. She can, like, maybe she'll iron your clothes, or when you have to go to the doctor, she'll make sure you don't get ripped off, because that's a whole nother video. When you need medical help over there, oh man, dude, their eyes light up like fire. Like, oh, how can we fleece this Muzungu? He's sick, he needs us. And I've had that happen too. Those are stories for another video, but she'll come with you, and she'll make sure that they're not ripping you off. So like, what are things a girl can do if she can't contribute financially? She can just do little things for you, like make your favorite food. Maybe you can teach her how to make some of your Western meals. I've done that with girlfriends before. Or, like I had a girlfriend buy me I didn't make her do this. She just bought me a shirt one day, and it was a used shirt, and it was probably really cheap, but I liked it, and I wore that shirt for like 3 years. Uh, she can support your ambitions. She can be a buffer between you and the society of the country that you're in and the community. She can be a buffer and make sure that you're respected there and understood. Something else that would show she's genuine if she introduces you to her family, but not in that way where Filipinas are known to do it, where it's, oh, let's kind of butter him up so he can support me and my family. Not that way, but like maybe she'll bring her sister along, and you can just hang out with her sister or some family member for a day, and maybe she'll pay for it, or she'll make some activity for you guys where it's not about you paying for it. She can be faithful to you. And here's the most important one, and I'll leave this video at that. The most important thing that I think a girlfriend can do for you where she's in an economic situation where she can't contribute equally financially, really, to me, the most important thing that she can do for you to contribute to this dynamic is she can give you peace.